Hi, it's Celeste, and I'm going to walk you through this week's TGIF kit Cioppino. So let's get started. Amazing assortment of seafood. So we have bay scallops and shrimp, local manila clams, salmon and whitefish, fresh Dungeness crab, and our house-made Cioppino base broth. We've got the amazing Essential Bakery pull-apart bread, which we'll discuss a little bit later, but it's also part of the kit. And you will need to have butter, a little bit of olive oil, and a cup of wine. So the first thing we're going to do is get our big stock pot, soup pot, whatever you've got on hand, and we're going to add, a tablespoon or two of olive oil, and just let that heat up till it's shimmering. So while we're waiting for that to heat up, we can get the bread started. So it's essential baking bread. It's going to come in all wrapped up in aluminum foil, and it's got all the garlic and butter and herbs and cheese already like slathered all over it. So because it could be a little bit gooey, which we want it to be, I suggest we put it on a baking pan or baking sheet and then put it in the oven. And we're going to put it in the oven at 375 for about 10-15 minutes with the foil on, and then once that's happened, at 15 minutes we're going to take the foil off and then let it get warm and super gooey for another 10 or 15 minutes. I actually am allergic to shrimp, so I'm actually, in this one, I'm not going to put the shrimp in it. So if you don't like clams or you don't like whatever, it's totally okay to sort of mix and match what we offered you. So I've separated the shrimp into a separate thing, and I'll probably cook them in the end and for the rest of my guests to eat, but when I'm actually making the whole stock pot, I'm going to make it without the shrimp. And then when I serve it up, I'll add their shrimp to theirs. Let's go. So I'm going to put the clams in first. I'm going to dump them in there. And then we're going to put the crab in. And we're just going to let it heat through over medium for, 2 or 3 minutes. I'm just going to use a wooden spoon and just kind of get everything sort of tossed up in there. I mean, it's not that hard, so I'm going to use my fingers. Just sort of get everything sort of coated in the olive oil. And we're just going to let that kind of do its thing for a couple minutes. So that is looking great. Everything is probably pretty hot. So I'm going to add white wine, a cup of white wine. And again, we're just going to cook that for 30 seconds to a minute and just sort of let the alcohol steam out. So the bread's been in the oven for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to take it out and I'm going to unwrap the foil. It's looking pretty good. But I'm just going to put it back in for 10 or 15 more minutes till it's really oozy and gooey and yummy. There we go. I'm going to add the Cioppino base. And then we're going to let that get heated through. So that's going to take like 3 to 4 minutes to get really heated through. I'm just going to sort of stir it up, get the liquid from the wine sort of, to let this all get sort of thinned out. You can already smell it. What we're going to do is bring this up to a simmer. And a simmer is when there's just all those tiny little bubbles around the very edge. So I'm going to turn it up, medium, a little bit more than medium, so that it actually gets to a simmer. I can just start to see little bubbles on the very edge, which is exactly what we want. And so now it's time to put in all the rest of the fish. So we've got salmon and a white fish. Big gorgeous chunks of that. We've got prawns and bay scallops. We're going to get those in. We're going to stir all that up. And now this we want to have, we're going to cover it now. And we're going to cook it for, 4 or 5 minutes and let it get really, really heated through. So we're going to do that. Put the lid on. And there we go. So it's been, 3 or 4 minutes. It's bubbly and looks delicious. And I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter and just swirl that around in there because butter makes everything taste better. So we're just adding a little more richness to this broth, which looks amazing. Sort of dumped that in there, and I'm going to get the bowls. And we're going to get serving. I think the easiest way to do this is to put this seafood in the bowl first and then ladle in all of the amazing cioppino broth. So, put about 3 big ladlefuls. TGIF kit cioppino. There you go. And we'll serve it with that amazing crusty bread. And so we'll stick that there so you can see how awesome that looks. And there we go. Bon appetit.